Hello and welcome to Relatable Code. In this video, we're going to talk about Kotlin coroutines with async and await. So let's get started. So before we talk about async and await, let's see why we need them first. Suppose you have a function which gets, for example, a user's name. Okay, we're going to call it getUsername. It's a suspend function which will not delegate, it will delay for 1 second before returning, for example, a username. Okay, it will have a return type which is string. And for example, you have another function which also returns another thing related to this user, which is user email. Okay, so let's suppose we have a function like this, which prompts for a delay of 800 milliseconds before returning, for example, johndoe@email.com. Okay, let's suppose we want to get both the username and the email. With what we've covered so far, let's see, we can launch a coroutine inside an activity using lifecycle scope.launch, and here we can use repeat on lifecycle for lifecycle.state.started. Okay, and here we can get, for example, val username equals to get username and email equals to get email. Suppose we have this set up, and suppose we need to create a data class, for example, called user details, having a name and an email. Okay, so let's suppose we need to create that object here, like this. And for instance, we want to use it for something related to our UI. Maybe we want to show these data inside a list. Okay, this setup is fine. It works, and I'm going to show you how it works. Okay, so let's suppose here we're going to have a log statement like that, and we're going to name it, for example, coroutine result. And we're going to record the current time in milliseconds. Okay. We're going to have started at. We're going to use this annotation for system.current_time in milliseconds. Okay, and here we're going to have retrieved at system current time in milliseconds. Okay. So there we have it. Let's run our application and filter for this log. Okay, that's our application. It's up and running. And if you notice here, if you try to figure out the delay that happened, this happened for a total delay of 1.8 seconds. Okay, so what happened, if you subtract those, you can get 1.8 seconds. Okay, what happened here is inside the scope of this coroutine, first we had to get our username. Okay, which suspended the whole coroutine for 1 second before returning this username. Okay, and then we had to get an email, which had to suspend the whole coroutine for another 800 milliseconds before returning this email. Okay, which we can use to finally construct this user details data class so that we can use it inside our UI. Okay, and that's not really good, because both of these functions return something which should be collected at once. Okay, what I mean by that is you need an object that has both a username and an email. And that's for now. Consider if you have to get, for example, the mobile number of this user, the address of this user. You can't retrieve them like this because it will take a lot of time. Okay, but with async and await, you can run these functions in parallel. Okay, and you can do that like this. For example, you can have a suspend function called get user details, which basically returns user details, and it will be used to launch these two suspend functions in parallel. Okay, so what you need for that is you need to create a coroutine scope with a small c. Okay, and here we're getting an error because we have required, okay, that's because of the return type, which is fine because we're going to return that shortly. Okay, so first we're going to need to get the username and then the email. But now we're going to do it like this. We're going to create val username equals to async, just like that, get username. Okay, and if you hover over username, you can see that this indeed was a string, but that string was wrapped inside something called a deferred. Okay, and you will see what deferred means in a little bit. Let's do the same for our user email. It will be equal to async get user email. Okay, and when you use the async keyword, you're basically launching this function asynchronously, which means that this function will not block this coroutine scope. So you can use other functions as well, as long as you launch them asynchronously, just like that. Okay, and here, if you hover over either username or user email, you will get the third string and not string directly. Okay, and that's because we're using the async right now. Okay, and async is like a promise that it will return a result. Okay, and we can have it return that result by using val username result, for example, equals to username dot await. When you call await, that basically waits for this function to finish executing. Okay, if you hover now over username result, you will see that this is now a string and not a deferred anymore. Okay, and that's how you can use async and await together. So let's do the same for our user email with user email result like that, which can be equal to user email dot await. And if you control left click on the await function, you can see a small explanation right there, which basically says that this awaits for the completion of this value without blocking a thread. Okay, and it resumes when the deferred computation is complete, which means when you do this, basically, the username result will wait for this operation to complete so that it can be assigned with this value. Okay, and same thing for the user email result, which will now let you safely return user details with username result and user email result, basically. Okay, and here you will not use a return statement because by default, the last line of code, as you can see right there, is returned when you use this kind of coroutine scope. Okay, and as we've agreed, this coroutine scope is used when you want to deal with async and await functions, or async await functions as they normally call them. Okay, because they are used just like that together. And you basically need this coroutine scope because if for some reason one of these two functions failed or got cancelled, you want the whole scope to finish in that case. Okay, you don't want it to complete with inconsistent results. So when you reach this line of code, you are sure that this whole block of code right there got executed. Okay, and if for any reason any one of these two functions right here returned an exception, for example, through an error, or got cancelled for any reason, you will want to basically cancel the whole scope, okay? Because you're trying to get these results as a single result in the end, as this data class. Okay, and that's what you need to know about async and await. They are really handy, and they let you launch these two in parallel. So if one of them takes 1 second and the other takes 0.8 seconds, collectively they will take just 1 second, okay, as per the highest delay happening right there. And we're going to see it in action right here. This is a suspend function. So here we're going to comment these out, and we're going to use get user details like that. And after that, did we delete that tag? I don't think so. What happened right there? Okay, just leave it at that. And I think this just wants to be a private function, as you can see. Same thing for our get username and our get user email as well. Now, if I launch my application again, check your emulator, nothing will happen. Check your logs right there. And here, as you can see, you have one at 329.464 and another at 330, 533. Okay, which is basically a second and about 70 milliseconds, I think, which is justifiable. It doesn't happen in an instant. Code needs to get compiled. But you basically get the point that using async and await will only have to wait for 1 second to return both of these data, basically, for this user. Okay. To recap what happened, we had two suspend functions. They are normal suspend functions right there for get username and get email. In order to execute these functions in parallel so that we don't have to wait 1.8 seconds to get the collective result, we used async await. Okay, and to launch a scope that handles async await, you need to use this coroutine scope with a small c. Okay, to make sure that if any one of these two functions fails or gets cancelled, that the whole scope will get cancelled. Okay, so that you don't get a user details data class with a name, for example, without an email. Okay, and to make sure that this function gets executed asynchronously, you use the async keyword. Okay, but we can't directly deal with the username yet because it's a deferred right now if you use the async keyword, which is why you need to also call .await. Okay, .await to wait for this function to execute without blocking the thread, okay, or the coroutine scope in our case. Same thing goes for our user email so that we can launch them both in parallel and in the end get a collective result for this data class containing both the name and the email. After launching our application, we checked that this coroutine was launched and finished executing within a single second. Okay. If you like my type of content and you find it to be relatable, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next video.